It's Merge. Oh, wait.
It's Merge. Hi.
Merge-ish. Merge-ish. Yay.
Yay. I love it.
Oh, welcome
What's
to...
your time of year?
Lord.
It's this game. They keep doing weird things in this game, and I understand why, and I'm okay with this, but also not.
We'll talk about it.
We'll talk about it.
Welcome to the Currently Unnamed Podcast, where we put the tea in reality, and you can always come to us first to quench your thirst. I'm Logan Murphy. Say something gay. Gay. Thank you very much. We are drinking blackberry lemonade. And it's caffeinated because I have somehow ended up on water TikTok, but instead of making like the waters that everyone's making, I just put all the packets into like a thing and I make tea out of it instead. It's pretty good.
Yes, hello everyone. It's me, Robyn. I'm back again for another Survivor recap. Listen, this episode, it wasn't one of the best like merge episodes. I feel like we've seen the same thing the last few seasons. The boot was kind of predictable, like nothing new, same old, same old. Yeah, and we'll get into it because I have qualms, I guess. Some issues with like maybe what they could do to change it.
And I am Jack, a Twitch streamer, game designer, college student, coffee addict, and overall mess at this point. Just before this, we discussed how I have now reached the age where, I need to go to sleep very early, which is interesting because it feels like that shouldn't be happening just yet, but you know.
Welcome to burnout.
Yeah.
Do you want to enlighten us with how old you are, Jack?
I'm 21. I'm hitting like the 30-year-old burnout of like, I need to go to sleep at like 11 at 20, which is fun.
No, because fully I reached that around that same age too. Mind you, I'm a little bit older now and like I still have it. But Robyn, I don't know if that's how you were when you were 21, but I mean, because you're only 22.
Right. So yeah.
I don't know how old you are.
I feel like at that age, it was kind of a different situation for me because like at our age of 20, 21 is when I discovered my identity. So I was living my full life, like and as I got older, I think like 25 is when I started slowing down.
Okay. I definitely remember like 22 to 24 was like we're slowing all the way down. And then I decided to go back to school. It's fine. We're not here to talk about our personal lives, though. We should at some point. That'd be nice. But we're here to talk about Survivor 44, episode 6, Merge, kinda.
Merge-atory.
This was... So I was trying to think back because you said in your intro, Robyn, that this wasn't the most like exciting Merge-atory of like I'm gonna go ahead and like use the parameters of like the new era of Survivor.
Yeah.
This might be my least favorite, and it's not because I didn't enjoy the episode because I thought it was fine, but I think going on off of what you said, everything felt predictable. And that's not a bad thing. It's just kind of how the cards ended up.
Yeah.
It did just feel like Matthew could have left in either episode, either the last one or this one.
Yeah.
And nothing would have changed.
No.
The only thing that changed was who was voting during that tribal.
And now we have to go back to intros because...
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, Domenick.
Hello. Sorry
Welcome.
for interrupting now. I got your thing. I was like, all right.
Oh, you're fine. Well, introduce yourself. We went back to intros just for you. Go introduce yourself again.
Awesome. So, hi, I'm Dom. I'm a lifelong Survivor fan and cat dad extraordinaire. Those are really the only two things I talk about. So, if you know that about me, you know everything there's to know about me. So, intro done.
Work. There we go. Updated ticker banner. Well, we're happy you're here. We have not talked about much, so don't worry. You didn't miss a whole lot. We're just talking about, this merge-ish episode in correlation to all of the other ones that have happened in the new era. And how, the outcome of this week could have been the outcome of last week, and they could have swapped, and, nothing really would have changed.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing is that, they throw all this stuff at the wall, but does it actually ever change things that much? It seems like the writing's on the wall and we get the same result, and it's just the most convoluted way of getting there. And I think it comes down to even just the way that they have that note when they got the idols. It's like, this idol expires when all the players are on the same beach. Like, they can't even just have a simple name for everything anymore. It always has to have some caveat of we're going to, when you're on the same beach, because that's not a merge. No, it is a merge, but half the people will have immunity, and that makes it not a merge somehow. I mean, yeah, I throw my hands up in the air sometimes at what Survivor chooses to be, because it has all the materials to be so much better.
Yeah, I agree. But we start the episode, and it's drop your buffs. You have 10 minutes. Grab everything. And we kind of have 3 very different scenarios going into everyone being on the same beach. We have Tika, where everything is fractured. If it wasn't for Matthew having to leave the game, then Josh wouldn't be here. Which I will say, I wasn't here last week. None of us were, but Jack, actually.
Yes.
I was sad. It was kind of inevitable that Matthew was gonna leave. I was sad to see it. I hope he gets another shot. I don't know if he will, in the same way that we know Bruce will.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to see it, though, on a second chances or something like that.
The thing personally for me that differentiates Bruce from Matthew, at least in the medevac regard, Bruce ended up making one mistake, trying to go a little too hard in a challenge, something that reasonably there should have been protection for. There should have been a pad on top of that pole that he got a massive cut from. I'm very happy to see him back. Matt randomly scaled a giant rock that he had no reason to and fell off and hurt his arm.
He did it to himself.
It's very much a why did you do this kind of do I feel bad that someone gets medevaced? Yes. Do I feel as bad? No, simply because the situation is so different.
Yeah.
So I don't see a reason for Matt to come back as much as Bruce, because Bruce was medevaced entirely on production's fault. Matt was medevaced very much because of his own fault. There was no reason for him to do that. Although Absolutely. It did suck to basically just see Matt go have a talk with medical and then not even get to see him say goodbye to anyone. We don't know when he was removed.
That's the weird part for me.
It felt oh yeah, Matt's just been removed. It felt like if you've ever been in a Survivor org, there's just a ping of this player has been removed from the game. The round is over.
Yeah.
And that's it. And just feels oh, okay.
It must have been early enough in the day, because they typically do tribal at night. Because it's still daylight when Jeff shows up to tell them that they don't have to go to tribal. So Who knows? I don't. But we have 3 kind of different scenarios. You have Tika, where everything is fractured, but we finally have an all queer tribe for the first time ever.
Yes.
I love this. Even though it's 3 of the most chaotic people possible, but it's okay. You have Soka, where you have these, like, it's 2 duos basically that are like a 4-person voting block. And then Jamie thinking she's the most powerful player in the game. And I'm just, oh, Jamie.
I
love her.
Yeah.
I really do.
She's really stepping up to that Angelina role, I feel like, recently.
And I knew she would, and I'm thrilled. I just need her to ask for somebody's jacket. That's all I need. And then you have Ratu, the other one. You have Ratu, where everyone is kind of like very kumbaya. We hear a little bit from Kane where he's like, I kind of feel a little bit on the outs, so this merge situation is going to be really, really good for me to sort of try to find some new allies. And immediately they get the notice, oh, everyone's coming to your beach. Carson goes, well, I have an idol that just expired. Just open to everyone. So now everyone on former Ratu has that knowledge. And then Lauren goes, well, I have an extra vote. And I'm like,
everyone's just freely sharing information. Like,
I'm like, okay. Great, cool.
What Survivor is now, just tell everybody what you have, your advantages, your votes, whatever.
Yeah, that's the thing that I always say when I watch this show, is that it must be so much harder than it seems to keep a secret, because every single time I'm like, in this, now they know that knowledge is a thing too. Right. Like, you know that someone can steal what you have, and yet still everybody just blabs. And I think to myself, if I were in that situation, would I be able to hold that secret? Like, I think now I could, but I'm like, if 90% of the people who are on there can't, I don't feel like I would be above them and like able to do it myself. There must be something when you're out there where you're just like, I need to tell somebody.
Yeah. And then you mix in all of the advantages, and now you have real idols, you have fake idols, you have fake idols that were real idols. Like, I don't even know who actually has an idol. Because Matthew had one and he left the game. So Carolyn, I believe, is the only person with an active idol.
Somehow.
And Danny.
Danny, yeah. And there is one other person, I couldn't remember who it was. And then Carson has a fake idol. Jamie has 2 fake idols.
Jamie has one fake idol that she knows is fake, and the other one that she doesn't know she
thinks is real.
See, so when she plays that fake idol, which I'm sure is going to happen, I feel like at this point, like, that's the edit seems to be leading up to her having a very humiliating end. She could really go full Angelina. Like, she'll be like, can I have your idol? Can I have your idol? When her fake one doesn't work. Like, we could really have her ascend fully to that Angelina throne. So I hope that she really goes out with a bang and starts really pleading for other people's idols when hers doesn't work.
I'm just sad Matthew won't be there to see the fake idol fail. Honestly, like, that's.
But he was also he was spreading that around her. Like, that I would be like, okay, if Matthew does come back, anybody who plays with him, he is the worst ally to have, because poor Jamie, he was like really throwing her under the bus.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying like a second chances might be better, because like people will know his game, but he'll also be surrounded by threats that are equal or more threatening than him.
Yeah, but I would not want to ally with him, because I mean, he was like, he told Carson about Jamie's fake idol. Like, he really wants to put that target on Jamie's back. And I was like, I don't feel like you need to do that. He was just, again, like the same with the Rock thing. He was just throwing everything at the wall, and like production probably loves that, but you can see why he ended up getting medevaced out on his own terms with making some unnecessary errors.
I feel bad, because obviously if Matt hadn't injured his soldier, Jesus Christ, I can't speak. If Matt hadn't injured his shoulder.
Good job, Jack.
Why is that worth? I think I'm actually losing it.
No,
If Matt hadn't injured his shoulder,
Great.
I think he would have been a strong player and easily
Mhm.
would have gotten to at least halfway through the merge, if not into the finale. He already proved that not only could he find a real idol, but he could convince people that they actually have the real idol.
Yeah.
And it sounded like he was pretty strong at challenges, just like his general build. So
I could have seen him winning out, honestly. Like,
Right.
I think that could have happened.
but once
But-
again, fuck around, hurt your arm, find out.
Fuck around and find out, literally. Like,
Okay,
that's
no,
what it is.
fuck around, fall down, and find out.
Yeah. So we get everyone on the same beach. Ooh, we're on the same beach. It's not Merge. You don't have buffs yet. And instantly, the first thing we see is Josh go to Brandon and tell him that he has an idol, or he has the birdcage idol, and then tells Jamie he doesn't have an idol. And I'm like, Josh, why are you immediately telling people that you have not played the game with,
Right.
that you suddenly don't have an idol, or you do or do not have an idol?
Yeah. And also, I feel like Josh comes into this like merge or whatever, just full on wanting to cut off Tika, like don't even care about them anymore, don't even care about the relationship he's made over there. And I get it, right? They were probably about to vote him out the last round, but going into this Merge-atory, like, and that's what I like about Jamie, even though she might be a little tiny bit, just a little bit delusional about like being this all-powerful player, that is a good position he was dealt with, like getting to interact with other tribes that, you know, other people are not going to get that opportunity to do. And he kind of screwed that up, and coming into this Merge-atory and just automatically throwing the Tika under the bus. Yeah, definitely rubbed me the wrong way how he played this round for sure.
Yeah, I don't think he could have played it any worse, but I think that I appreciate about this season's cast is that they are very willing to just throw a relationship out the door for no reason. Like even last week with Carolyn when
Yeah.
she came back from the journey with everyone, and she was like so clearly against Josh. I was like, don't like it doesn't seem like the dynamics were necessarily as they were shown last time. It seems pretty clear cut that Josh was going to go home. But I was watching last episode and thinking, Carolyn, you're putting a target on your back by being so clearly against Josh right now. So I do like it, makes it more entertaining when you see people being very transparent about their distaste for other players. Strategically, not quite the best idea though.
No, I feel like this is going to turn into more of like a voting block season than anything else. Because the last couple of seasons, like we've seen some like decently sized alliances over like the new era of the game. But I feel like we're going to see something very similar to what we saw in David versus Goliath, where I feel like relationships are just going to keep shifting back and forth. And you're gonna have people on opposite ends, and in this case, it was Jam Jam and Josh, and then somehow Kane's name gets thrown in. We'll talk about it, but you have people on these extreme ends, but it's very few people on these extreme ends. You just have a lot of people kind of middling, and it really honestly comes down to this Ratu 4, or Ratu 3, I guess. Lauren, Brandon, Carson.
Mm-hmm.
And this Soka 4 of Matt, Franny, Heidi, and Danny. And they're all kind of just like middling together. And if I was anyone in those groups, once you see that those are like the established majorities from the old tribes, I just go, hey, you're a 4, we're a 3, we can be 7, we control everything. We all make it to 7. That's not the most like entertaining gameplay, but it's kind of a sure bet that you're going to get And especially even if you're in the majority 4, you can even then be like, if you want to like cut someone from the minority of the majority, you can do that because you have the agency to do so. So it's like, I feel like we're just going to end up with like a very like full, like everything's going to be very fluid this season, which I don't mind because I think it's going to lead to some really nice, shocking eliminations. But
yeah, no, I do think that as the merge happens in these newer seasons, we see over and over again, anybody who has that kind of bad rap from their tribe coming into the merge, those are the easy pickings that tend to go home. Like even last season, Ellie, just because she had so much drama with Gabler and all the other members of her tribe, just an easy vote out. Even Janine kind of got stuck with that. Chanel, the one in 42. I think there are those people who just naturally are selected as like, oh, no one really trusts them. So I think that's like Josh and Kane this time. But I do think that people like Franny, Matt, and Danny probably should have tried to hold on to Josh because he still trusted them. They might not have liked him. They might have said, oh, he's getting chance after chance after chance to stick around. But he didn't have any reason not to trust them. From his perspective, he had been in good with them. So from the perspective of trying to keep your numbers, I think they absolutely should have tried to keep Josh, even though they all had a bad feeling about him. Clearly, he was kind of lost in this game. He didn't really that's the other funny thing is they're saying like, oh, such a social threat. He's a big, he's doing so well. I'm like, every single person in this game does not like or trust him. How does that work? So I feel like it was maybe not a good move for the people who may, like Franny, Matt, Danny, they might want that number after a few rounds from now.
Yeah, definitely that. Well, we go, nothing else. The only real thing that happens beyond that is Carolyn. It's time for our weekly Carolyn segment where we talk all about Carolyn and how much we love Carolyn. And on this week's episode, Carolyn gets the crossfade of the season where everyone is talking around her and she's having major social anxiety. And I don't know about y'all, but I relate.
Yes. No, it was one of the most relatable moments. I was so happy to see that from her because she has been kind of wacky and out there, but this was the thing that I think everybody, many people, including myself, and I think everyone here, can definitely relate to that idea of like, oh my gosh, I'm in a big group right now and everybody's talking and how am I supposed to get a word in edgewise? What am I supposed to say? I'm going to say something. It's going to be weird. It was very relatable and made me like her a lot more.
I have never felt more seen and more attacked in a single moment. I was like, honestly, I am literally seeing myself on the screen, looking at a group of people and saying, oh God, I have to talk.
Yeah. Honestly, like half of the reason I wanted to start podcasting was so I could get over my social anxiety. Like that's half the reason I started doing it. So for me, like even in that situation, I don't know necessarily how I would handle myself. I would just be like, hi, I'm here. There's a lot happening. I'm gonna go get some water.
Yeah.
Maybe look for an idol, but I'm not gonna tell anyone that. Like that's like I agree, Jack. I felt seen and attacked. Completely.
And that's why I love Carolyn, because any moment she's on screen, I relate in the best and worst ways.
She really is great. We also see, and I personally was a little surprised to see this, we see Carolyn immediately go back to Carson. And Carson in confessionals, like, yeah, I think Jam Jam and Carolyn are two great numbers that I can use moving forward. I was gagged. I know they had an alliance when Carson was on Tika. I don't know what I expected, but I didn't expect Carson to go into Merge wanting to work with Jam Jam and Carolyn again. I don't know if that's just me.
Yeah. I think those are his number ones, like from what I've seen from like the Tika tribe before he left. You know, yeah, I think he can trust the people in Route 2. He's made connections with like a Kane and stuff, but Kane also is kind of like was on the bottom of that tribe. So like how much agency does Kane have? And it's just for numbers, having them around. And I think also, especially someone like Jam Jam, like if you're aligned with him, I don't know, in my eyes, from obviously looking in, like we see Carson's gameplay, but being there, me in my head would think like, oh, Jam Jam's the one running that trio, you know what I mean? And he wouldn't be front and center with that. So I understand why he would do that.
I also think that Jam Jam and Carolyn are kind of maybe he thought of as like the big personalities and less game players. So maybe he's thinking, especially with Carolyn, I think she has a lot of merit to her game as well. But she kind of has the Angelina or Nora vibe to her too, where it's like, okay, maybe I do want to go to the end with her because she's not going to get any votes, and she'll make her case at Final Tribal Council, and no one will listen to it, which I hope, unlike what happened at this Merge episode, that people do give her a chance if she gets to the end, because I think she has a lot of valid strategy, but I think just traditionally, historically, she fits that archetype that you could very easily see at the end, making that case at Final Tribal Council, and everybody's just filing their nails, not really listening.
She reminds me a lot, and this is going to be a deep cut, and I think it's going to continue as the season goes on. She reminds me a lot of Lil.
Oh my God.
Lil was such a big personality. No one really expected her to be like a major game player, but she did have her very strategic moments, and she led a lot of the decisions. Mind you, Sandra won, obviously, and Lil was very much so considered a GOAT. But I do think I get, we see the Angelina and the Nora, and I would even say to an extent, and I know, Domenick, you're gonna hate me for this, I would even see like a Courtney comparison to Carolyn in a way. In that sort of archetype of like throwaway female character. And I don't mean that with any disrespect, but that's like that tends to be the archetypal character. But I see a lot of Lil in Carolyn, and I'm like, I hope we get to continue to see Carolyn's gameplay potential. Obviously, she's an Orger, so like we know when you get to these like end games, like I'm interested to see how she's gonna handle things and whether she's gonna end up in a good position. And I think having Carson in her back pocket is going to be very, very beneficial, because honestly, I think going into Merge-ish, I think Carson is kind of in the best position.
As much as I hate to admit it, I think you're right.
Yes. I agree. I have nothing against him as a person, as a survivor character.
Yeah.
He just doesn't bring anything that I am overjoyed to see. I know that will possibly get me blocked on Twitter if he ever saw that. But he seems like a little sensitive soul, which is a great thing.
He's being a rocket scientist. It's fine.
He has a lot going for him. He has a ton going for him. He seems like a very bright, level-headed, ambitious guy. But I feel like been there, done that with his type on Survivor, and not to his credit, he studied up everything on the game. To me, that diminishes my enjoyment of watching the game if I feel like people pre-studied everything, and it's just like, okay, I'm going to go through the motions of playing this game because I know exactly what I need to do in every challenge. That's not exciting to me, but that's nothing against him. He obviously very smart of him to do that.
Well, that's a really great segue. Go ahead, Jack. I have a segue.
Yeah, no. That's exactly what I was going to segue into, because
we go to the immunity challenge, and so it's the same old Merge-atory challenge that we've seen the last 3 seasons, with the same giant ball in a sand pit and the same obstacles, but this time you have to run up an American Ninja Warrior style warp wall and then solve the good old 3D tree puzzle. Our teams were Danny, Heidi, Josh, Kane, Lauren, and Jam Jam. And then the other side was Brandon, Carolyn, Carson, Franny, Jamie, and Matt. this was pretty evenly matched going in, and it was pretty evenly matched up until the puzzle.
Right.
And then the puzzle happened, and as soon as I saw what the puzzle was, I was like, oh, Carson literally said that he has this. We saw him with a 3D printed version of this puzzle.
Yeah.
In his home. It's a no-brainer. And I don't even remember who was with him because I'm pretty sure he did the entire puzzle by himself.
He definitely did.
Most likely did.
Survivor. As someone who does puzzles a lot, here's a tip. You can cut different pieces out of the same thing. You can keep the exact same puzzle, but just change the piece shape.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that hard unless you are literally just spray painting the pieces different colors every season, in which case, please do something else.
Do we think it's the same pieces, Jack?
I don't think it's the same pieces, but they likely have, like, my guess is that it is all wood cut from the exact same machine, and they can literally just turn on a program and then spray paint the wood however they need it.
I would say it's probably one of 2 or 3.
Mm-hmm.
There's always a couple iterations of these same sort of puzzles. And especially in the new era, we've seen a lot of puzzles reused. And I understand that, like, when you've been in Fiji for as long as Survivor has, and you've done challenges for as long as you have, and maybe the budgets aren't as high as they used to be, maybe we put the budget towards some newer challenges. And, like, y'all know they've used the same damn poles for the hold on to the pole as long as you can challenge for probably 10 years.
Yeah.
And just repainted them every year. So, like,
I mean, why do these people even need to be employed anymore? I mean, they don't seem to be doing anything different. I mean, you don't really need a challenge designer if you're just going to reuse the same 5 challenges every season. I mean, let's earn your keep, guys. I mean, let's do something like different. There are inventive challenges you absolutely can make, but they're so committed to mediocrity at this point. It can't be just budget. It can't just be any excuse. It's really just we've settled into a groove that we're comfortable in, and we're going to act as if it's not an inferior show, product, or whatever. I mean, maybe some of the casual fans don't recognize that the same challenges are being played over and over again. But to me, it's so boring watching a challenge, especially when it's always the same thing. There's not a lot of variety between challenges in each episode and in challenges each season. And I'm sure we're getting to the post-merge, so the best is behind us now. It's just gonna be endurance challenges every episode. So
I was gonna say, what challenges are we expecting to see? I'm expecting to see the one where you have to move the blocks with your feet. That's a classic.
The stack dominoes on posts in order to spell a word but don't hit the tripwire,
or the one where you have to hold the wire. I'm honestly just thinking about challenges we just saw on Australian Survivor because they're all honestly like, they're genuinely the same.
I mean, those I don't think are the worst thing. Those, if you want to repeat it, is absolutely fine. You should not be able to 3D print a puzzle and memorize it from home and then be able to do that on Survivor. If you can, like, hold up your body in, like, a frame and get used to that, I mean, I guess, but also someone who's naturally stronger is going to have that kind of advantage anyway. Being able to literally replicate a puzzle breaks the entire point of the puzzle and turns it into okay, who's memorized this before? You win.
Right.
It's not entertaining.
Supposed to be like the great equalizer, like and anybody could do it. Anybody could win at that point, but it's not the case if somebody's memorized it and can do it in 5 seconds. You know what I mean?
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't the most upset about Carson winning this puzzle because it meant that Carolyn made the merge. It meant that Jamie made the merge. It meant that our showmance made the merge, and Brandon, who is there, and is nice to look at. So,
which I will say, like, I didn't mind like the winning. Of course, I wish it was a more fair way of them like winning. Of course, and you know, I do love a little drama, so I would have liked to see what it would have been like if, you know, Josh's team actually won. You know, what would the scramble be then? You know,
well, unfortunately,
I hate seeing a lot of people just being safe all the time. I want to see some people struggle for once, but it might have been Carolyn. So I'm glad.
I was gonna say I think it would have been Carolyn.
We didn't get that, you know.
But officially, Carolyn has made merge. Yes, queen, icon.
That's all we need.
And everybody else, and everybody else. But they get new buffs. They get a merge feast. Black and red for merge buffs. What do we think? Thoughts, feelings? I like it.
I like it.
Good enough.
I'm like, I would have loved. I'm still waiting for pink. That's like the one color that I'm like, just do pink.
Yeah, it seems like the last few seasons they've just been sticking with like these
green,
colors.
orange, purple.
Yeah.
Again, it goes back to they already have all of the challenges made, Robyn. So they already have
they already have the colors.
Purple, green, orange. Like it's already made. I'm hoping 45 brings us something different. I'm hopeful, but
I mean, 41 and 42 stuck with red, blue, yellow instead, right? If I remember correctly.
Red, blue.
It was green, orange, purple.
Mm-hmm.
Then what was red, blue, yellow?
No,
I don't remember that happening.
No, 41 was green,
blue, orange,
green, yellow, something. Green, yellow, blue.
I mean, they're just using the 6 colors of the rainbow on and off.
I know.
And then throwing a black or a green or a blue merge buff and calling it a day.
Or purple. If they don't use purple in the main. Yeah, okay. So 41 was blue, green, yellow with red as the merge. 42 was blue, green, orange with purple as the merge. And then 43 43 was red, blue, yellow. You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, red, blue, yellow with
merge
green.
Was
the merge. So
Mm-hmm.
let's throw in some, I don't know, like fuchsia, some royal blue, maybe a lavender.
You could say fuchsia for when I'm on, because that's like my favorite color.
For Survivor 40, what, 7?
No, I was gonna pick Survivor 50 something. I don't know.
Not 50 something.
Yes. That's how long it would be for me to ever play Survivor.
Fair.
Brother. Still, listen, as much as I watch Survivor, I played a lot of Survivor game. It's just not for me. I go out of Final 10, Final 9. No.
The same. I can't do Survivor. Big Brother? Yeah, I could.
I very much run a Survivor game, and we have more color variety. They can help. They can do it.
Good.
They can do it.
Yeah, it's just all about the shades. Like, just don't give me the same blue, the same green, the same yellow. You can
I think the green last season for the merge buff was pretty nice. It was like a different.
Yeah.
It was like a muted lime green or something like that. That was pretty.
Like a teal with lime green.
Something. But so we go.
I'm not wearing them, so
exactly. I'm like I don't care. I honestly hated that Winners at War was red and blue. I was like, y'all couldn't have done anything else more creative.
Yeah, and they were like very much the standard red and blue too. Like no real no switch ups there. And I mean the initial tribe colors do matter because that affects the entire wardrobe of the cast, and the entire cast is in that shade. I don't know if that actually really was applying to Winners at War. I feel like that had some random colors in there. But
does it matter? Because Jack, you said something in our group chat, and I was intrigued by it, and I couldn't tell whether I couldn't tell.
So, did they get new clothes? Like I feel like they got clothes at least some of them did that were more blue because Carson's shirt definitely changed. I remember Carson's shirt when he was on his original tribe being different from when he was swapped.
It was like super purple.
Yeah.
I do think that they get more clothes now, and I've heard it's because they have like rules about players not getting too close in the shelter during night, so maybe they have more clothes to stay warmer. I don't know what it is, but they definitely like. I feel like many of the recent seasons, I've been like, oh, where'd that piece come from? Changing up your look. Where'd you get the materials for that?
Because
So
I remember recently I saw Lauren from Edge of Extinction like rate her looks from Survivor, and she had like 6 or 7 different looks, and I was like,
wait, hold on. Like,
huh? But she had like a cardigan, pants, a tank top, a shirt. So there were like options. I guess that's what you do now, unless you go in wearing a full suit, which I would never do. Like, I don't want to play Survivor.
People were wearing like blazers and stuff. With Josh wearing like a blazer, I'm like,
yeah. I'm like, I don't want to play Survivor in dress pants. I'm sorry. No. Absolutely not.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing that I think it would be. That's a definitely limiting factor. I know that production has some say in that. So that's so interesting to me, especially with Josh's little lie that he decided to tell about being a personal trainer. It's like, is your character type personal trainer in a suit? I don't know that that's what I would dress a personal trainer in if I was thinking like, what role does production see you playing? So, yeah. I mean, that's something that you would have to definitely keep in mind. But, you know, I would be very, and the thing is now, if you come back on the show, you're going to have to wear the same thing again. You know, they don't give you a switch up now. Like I know Kelly Wentworth is wearing the same checkered shirt every time that she's played.
Wait,
so,
for real? That's what they do, even if you come back. Oh Lord.
Yeah, now they all tend to wear the similar types of outfits. So
Sandra's worn the same shirt 5 times. Like the same shirt and the same hat 5 times on Survivor. Wow. Like,
and that's tough for me to think about if I were to play, because the looks that you serve on that show matter a lot. I mean, I don't want to just do the same repetitive thing. You have to be able to switch it up a bit.
Dom, what tank top are you gonna wear?
I was gonna say, actually, what am I talking about here? Like, I am very repetitive in my day-to-day life.
Yeah.
I didn't say it. I didn't say it.
Well, I would just want to be able to have a look that I like.
Fair.
I mean, I will be honest. I have looked into like, what are like some unbranded clothes that like don't have any huge logos on it?
Right.
Or that does have something recognizable.
Like this technically is fine. Because it doesn't have like, Abercrombie on it. I'm not saying that right. Whatever. You know what I mean. Like it doesn't have the word Nintendo slathered on it. But it's surprisingly hard to get clothes that don't follow that. And seeing what they pull off on this show with like, we're just going to get you a full suit, but it doesn't have a single name on it is impressive.
I mean, that's a little bit easier. You just rip the tags out of everything. I was going to say, honestly, just go to Target. That's what I would do. Get like a basic t-shirt, some basic shorts, and I'm still going to serve a look, even though I would never go on Survivor, but or wear something like from a university. That's always like an easy one. It's like, I'm just going to wear a university.
But then you're showing what university you're affiliated with, and everybody loves to lie.
Maybe I'm wearing a shirt from the university I didn't go to. What about that, Dom?
Well, then it's going to be what people think that you went to then. So are you choosing a university that you don't want them to think that you're affiliated with? Or are you choosing... Yes, exactly. You might want to get the casting people to think you went to Harvard, because they love like the most ambitious and over the top resumes for people now. Right. But for fellow island goers, I would say I would avoid Harvard as a choice. Yeah.
Anyway, back to Survivor. Can you tell we really don't want to talk about this episode?
there wasn't
'Cause I
that
mean-
much to it, you know? It wasn't
not
necessarily the
much.
most intriguing strategy, or it's again what I was saying before. It seems like when it comes to the merge, everybody comes together. They compare notes. Oh, no one trusted Kane. No one trusted Josh. So they're kind of the ones who are at risk now.
And Josh throws out Jam Jam as a last ditch effort because God forbid he leave the beaches of Fiji before Jam Jam, and that is what I call a homosexual playing Survivor. I would
Their
say,
interaction was very funny, though, with them trying to come together and to squash that beef. I thought that was a highlight of the episode.
I really thought that was gonna do something. I was very naive to thinking that, but I really was rooting for them. Two queer men like of color. I wanted them to work together and really do something, but they're both
gays can't work together. That's why we only get one of these.
Right.
It's queer on queer violence, and there's nothing we can do about it.
Right. I went for Romeo in 42. I'm just like, well.
Because we only have what? There were 4 queer people that made Merge.
Yes.
Because Merge-ish. Well, nope, that's a lie. There's only 3 people that made Merge. Well, we got 50%.
Yeah.
We got 50%. I'll take it. No. Yeah, it's Josh. There's a little bit of a rumbling on Kane. Josh is going for Jam Jam. And Jam Jam's name, for a moment, at least in the edit, kind of gains traction. Everyone's like, yeah, Jam Jam, sure.
Well,
and then everyone was like, oh, wait, but Josh.
Right. I want to say, I think, we don't see a lot of gameplay from Kane, but I think this is one of those episodes where we did see a little bit of game from Kane, because he did hear his name and he was like, wait, why is my name out there now? Why am I the second target? And then he makes sure he tells his allies, like, hey, can we do Jam Jam instead? Like, can that be the decoy name? And I love how his allies, actually listened and was like, you know what, you're right. Let's put Jam Jam instead. And I think that's how, like you were saying, Domenick, earlier, I think that's how Soka should play. That's how Danny should have played, by trying to keep Josh as ally. Because, although you might not see eye to eye with him or don't think you could work with him, like, at least that's a number that's from your original tribe. Like, I don't know how people feel. Like, I played like 2 live Survivor games now, and I've been tribe strong day one, tribe strong. No matter how many allies I've had or like merges I go through, it's like there's something about having those day ones that, there's a bond there that cannot be broken, no matter how much like you feel like betrayed by someone,
Yeah.
So I think it was a bad move for Danny, but good move for Kane, move for Brandon, actually like listening to his, tribe buddy.
And it's interesting because Brandon is the one that throws Kane's name out as because Kane voted for him in the Maddie vote.
The one vote.
The one vote. Well, no, it was one of 2, but he's the only one left in the game. And then the whole time, the episode is kind of overrun by this, like, does Josh have a real idol? Does Josh not have a real idol? And I love that Carolyn at the Merge Feast is like, oh, yeah, no, he doesn't have an idol. He used one, tried to show us a fake idol, and it was fully beads from Tree Mail. So he doesn't have an idol. And then who was it that was just like, but no, he has an idol. I know he has an idol. He has an idol.
Was it Jamie?
Wasn't it? It was Jamie. Jamie was like, I know he has an idol. He told me he has an idol. And Carolyn in confessional is just like, why won't anyone listen to me?
I just hate to see that, because like I think Carolyn has really good reads and they're just underestimating her. As much as a lot of people don't like the season, last winner of last season, I really see like a lot of similarities in terms of like her being underestimated and nobody really seeing her game. But at the end, I could definitely see her like pulling out some tricks and be like, hey, this is what I did. This is what I did.
I would like to compare her more to an Erica or Marianne. But to be fair, literally every winner in the new era is someone who was not considered a threat for the majority of the game and then all of a sudden swooped out of nowhere and won the game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So the only reason I'm not comparing her to Marianne or Erica just because Carolyn's a little more kooky and a little more out than Erica. Maybe Marianne is a little closer, but
I was gonna say Marianne's probably a bit closer as far as personality. But I was gonna say, if tradition holds, Carolyn or Heidi, I'm fine either way.
I will say that Carolyn did in I think Mike Bloom's most recent interview say that she was inspired to sign up because she always thought, oh, I'd be the first boot for being the loud one. And then she saw Marianne play and was like, you know what? No, I'll be fine.
Yeah.
And she is, because
one of the best casting choices in 44 seasons, hands down, no question. Like, you know, if she doesn't win, they're going to bring her back the moment that they can. And if she does win, you know she is a lock for Winners at War 2. Like, that's a guarantee. Like, I am very certain that we will see Carolyn again on our TV screens in the foreseeable future. Like,
hopefully they choose to do a returning season again. Yeah, I mean, I agree that she is a lock.
I've heard things. I'm just gonna say I've heard things. But yeah, was there anything else to go over? Not much happened.
One last thing I want to mention, because it really reared its ugly head again at Tribal Council this episode, is just the metaphors being out of control, as always. And it just was like, I can't even comprehend what's being said anymore. It just is so horrible. And at this point, Survivor's been on for 44 seasons. Survivor is like playing Survivor. We don't need to compare things that happen in Survivor to anything else. We all know, just from even watching, what Tribal Council is like. We don't need these convoluted, annoying metaphors that you can just tell they're like scraping and clawing to find something. Jeff, please, like what I have to say, because it's the most convoluted, stupid metaphor you could possibly imagine. Like me, Jeff. That's why I hear every time someone says some stupid metaphor now.
Now we're playing Survivor with a capital S. I wanted to throw up. I'm like, you've been playing Survivor since day one.
Yeah.
It felt like, for me, for people that watch Drag Race in the US, it felt like Ross Matthews when he goes, you know that thing? Like, that's what it all felt like. I was like, no, stop.
Right, Ross, please.
I love Jeff. Don't get me wrong. I think it's finally time for Jeff to step away as host and Christian Hubicki come in as the host, as he should. Or Sandra. Those are my only two options. I know that there's probably like several people that could be host. It's Christian or it's Sandra for me.
Screw it. Just go the route of the Bachelorette and have the most recent winner host.
Don't
duo
talk
host.
about Tayshia Adams like that.
Love Tayshia. I think she's filming another reality show now too.
I'm thrilled.
Wait, which one is it?
We'll talk offline.
Yeah, we don't need to go into that now.
Thrilled.
But, yeah.
That rumored cast. Anyway. Yeah, we're at Tribal. Metaphors on metaphors on metaphors. And we get the vote. There's only 11 votes. Ooh, but it literally doesn't even matter.
Yeah.
Because we get a 7-3-1 vote with not even all the votes read. And Josh is eliminated. Really no one's surprised.
We know.
Yeah.
Nothing new.
So the 3 votes for Jam Jam came from Josh, Kane, and Brandon. And then the Kane vote came from Carolyn. So everybody else voted Josh. Matt did not have a vote, which means, is he the first person to survive 2 tribals without a vote?
Maybe.
In American Survivor, at least. South Africa has done some weird twists with voting, but I want to say, to my knowledge, he's the first person to survive 2 tribals with no vote. And correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, because I probably am. But
to survive 2 tribals with no
Without a vote.
votes?
Without a vote.
Because with
Did
no votes,
Xander?
that definitely has been done before.
Let me clarify. Yeah. Has survived 2 tribal councils without voting. Let's say that.
Yes.
Did Xander have a vote in his first tribal?
Oh, I think it was actually Xander.
Oh no, I don't know if he lost his vote after the first episode or during it. It might have been after, because I don't think they went to tribal council again after that. They just lost the first 2, right?
Let's take a look.
Yasa. But I think he still had his vote. Maybe the first episode, but that was the only one that came to mind.
Let's research.
No, he did vote in the first episode.
That makes sense.
Yeah, he voted for Abraham, as everybody did. But yeah, then he didn't have a vote for his second tribal. So I'm gonna say Matt is the first person to survive 2 tribals without voting.
Lock him in for Game Changers 2. He's earned his spot.
No, I would rather not. Personally, that's just me. I get nothing from him. I really don't.
He's just Ken.
He's not.
Well, we get a little bit of a preview for next week, and it sounds like there's a twist at the immunity challenge where someone might lose their vote again. I'm like, why are we stripping people of their vote?
I think Zach from 42 put it best. They finally voted out a man. Jeff, none of you will have a say. None of you.
Oh yeah, he is the first man to be voted.
I saw that.
The first man voted out of this season of Survivor is literally when every single person is on one beach.
It's fine.
Granted, the only reason that happened is because the 2 men were medevaced. But still, that's not a great statistic.
No. So do we think jury starts next week? That feels fitting.
Yeah.
8-person jury, final 3.
Yeah, and they can always, as long as it's not like ever a multiple of 3, it's fine, because you can always have what happened during Ghost Island.
Correct.
Yeah, where third place just votes.
The only time that's ever happened, and I would like to see it happen again. But any final thoughts on this episode?
The new seasons don't really have that many close votes, though.
No.
The jury seem to just know where they're going.
It's been unanimous or like 1 vote off, I believe, in most of them.
Yeah.
Who knows? Any final thoughts?
Final thoughts. The cast is pretty good. I think all these twists is just fucking it up for a lot of these people. I hope it gets better next week. I hope it's nothing that screws our faves. You know, that's all I could ask for.
Team Carolyn.
Team Carolyn.
I do wonder if they'll have a new birdcage.
I hope.
They need like a merge title.
Merge cage.
Merge.
Lock everyone in a cage, and we do that challenge from Big Brother 5.
I would love that. Let's do it. Let's do that.
Wait,
or the pressure cooker from 6.
I thought it was 5. Pressure cooker.
Pressure cooker is 6.
It's 6.
Because it had Janelle.
It was
April.
Kaser, yeah.
Chaser
Jenny.
I always remember Kaser as being on Big Brother 5.
Kaser was the last 2, I think, with Jenny, and then he
got evicted.
If you don't put it on the blocker, and she's like, I wouldn't do that, and she did.
She was
bring back moments like that, just like that brutal 12-hour
I don't know why
challenge.
they don't have that challenge anymore on Big Brother. It's really good.
They only did it once.
They think it messes up the schedule. It's too difficult to do. It's like, you are here to please the audience. Like let's
Not anymore.
like let's have that all-nighter production.
Listen, as
like,
long as they still have live feeds, it's a win in my book.
that's
That part.
Okay.
Oh, God. Well, thank you for joining us for another Survivor episode. We'll be back next week with more Survivor. And probably another
I'm
tangent.
gonna try to make it, but it is 80 degrees next Friday.
Ooh.
Bitch.
Well,
Not trying to be home, but yeah.
that's valid and
But
understandable.
most likely I'll be
Well,
I mean, it's also the Drag Race finale next Friday, so
home. Not just whenever.
yeah, we may or may not be
I don't
here.
we might be recording on a different day, but y'all will never know.
Just forget the past like 5 minutes of conversation, and we're good.
Anyway, thank you so much for joining us. Make sure to subscribe, follow all of us on social media, because we do fun things sometimes. I just shit talk Drag Race, honestly, is all and Big Brother Canada. At this point, that's kind of
I troll people, especially the twinks, you know.
as you should.
I'll sometimes retweet photos of my hot friends if you're into that.
Jack might go live
Me
on
never
Twitter at
getting a
some
retweet
point.
by Jack. I see how it is.
Yeah, me also not getting a retweet by Jack, so like, I feel attacked. It's fine.
I need to go.
Anyway, cheers.
Bye.
Bye.
Here's my vitamin water.
This had seltzer. It might have been vodka seltzer. Who knows?
That.
Bye.